welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about how to get more pleasure from food while you lose weight, right? Again, we don't put these things together. Typically, we think we're going to lose weight. We're going to get less pleasure from food because we're going to eat less of it. But the real secret to getting more pleasure from food is to realize that your experience of pleasure from food is not only reliant on how much you eat. Most people, because we've been just, bombarded with food marketing our entire lives, we associate that the more pleasure we get from food is by eating more of it, right? So consumption equals pleasure. But if you take a step back from that idea for just a moment, it's very obvious that that's not true, that there is actually other factors going on that are impacting your pleasure of the food. And the secret to this is to understand that there's three phases of eating. There's the anticipation, consumption, and consequence. And all the food marketing is getting us to focus on the anticipation and consumption, the eating of it, and we really ignore the consequence. Our entire lives, we've been taught to ignore the consequence of the food. And this is the part you have to focus on in order to boost the pleasure way higher than what you're currently getting. Because if we only look at pleasure in terms of looking forward to it and eating it, then we're really setting ourselves up for failure, right? Because the only time we can get pleasure is when we're doing those two things. But if you take a step back and think of a time in your life when you have eaten just the right amount, right? Maybe you're just kind of calm, relaxed, you're in a good space. However it happened, I want you to remember a time in your life when you ate just the right amount. And I want you to remember that feeling. And I want you to notice what it's like to eat the food you want to eat, enjoy it, to look forward to it, to eat it, to enjoy it. And then though, the missing piece that most people ignore or never really get to tap into is the consequence of making a good decision, right? So when you think about, you still get the pleasure, you still get to look forward to it, but then on top of it, you get to feel good about yourself, that you're proud of how you ate. And that builds up on top of itself because you start getting the physical results as well. And so when you really take a step back and think about eating from this perspective, you realize that the secret to getting more pleasure out of the food is to really start focusing on the consequence piece. That's how you double, triple, quadruple the pleasure you're currently experiencing from food. This is how I get more pleasure from food by eating less of it, because I still get to eat whatever I want to eat. Nothing's off limits. But by eating it in a moderate way, I not only get the pleasure of eating it, but I also get the pleasure that follows eating it moderately. And again, those pleasures are usually physical, mental, and emotional. Physically, I feel lighter. I feel more energized, right? When I don't overeat it. Mentally, I'm proud of myself, right? I'm saying nice things to myself. I'm attached to a good self-image, right? I'm thinking of myself in a positive way when I eat just the right amount. And then emotionally, obviously, I feel all those wonderful emotions that come from that: control, success, momentum, pride, happiness, on and on and on. And so this is really how you really get way more pleasure out of the food you're eating and set yourself up to lose weight and live at your goal weight, because we add a whole nother phase onto the pleasure piece. And so again, the only part you're really dialing down is the consumption piece. Okay, so you can still look forward to as much as you want. You can eat it. We're just going to dial that part down a little bit. And then we open up the whole consequence phase where you get to be proud of yourself and feel good physically, mentally, and emotionally afterwards. And when you start to think of it this way, it really becomes very powerful. And it creates kind of its own forward momentum when you approach it this way, because the consequences you can feel, a lot of times they're way better than you even imagined. So if you test this out somewhere in the next couple of days, by some meal, eat moderately, eat something you enjoy, but eat it moderately. And notice what you think about yourself, what you feel emotionally, how you feel physically when you do it that way. And tell me it's not better. Now, once you experienced it once, now the goal is to remind yourself that it feels better, right? And that does take some work, but it's the truth. Again, it's always going to feel good after you finish eating and that consequence phase starts, and it always does start. Once it starts and you've eaten moderately, you feel so much more pleasure than you have been. And again, it reinforces you losing weight and ultimately living your goal weight. So hope this helps you out. If you want more help with this way of thinking, click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself, then go get the free hypnosis session that I made for you, and go check that out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to put the link up in Facebook land over here. Oops. Boop, there it is. So if you're on Facebook, you can just click that link and there we go. Back to TikTok. Had to fix something there. So yeah, hope you all have a nice weekend. All have a nice week. I know it's kind of a weird week, right? Always when the Thanksgiving coming up. What's up, Hot Chocolate Girl? Hot Chocolate Girl says, I've lost 30 pounds, but struggling to lose my last 10. Do you have any tips for this? Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing is congratulations. Okay. Celebrate your win. You're 75% of the way there. So wonderful job. Great job. All right. The last 10 pound struggle. I hear this so much. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to say about this. Number one is that the last 10 pounds usually come off slower than the first 10 pounds. So we have to, when we have a timeline in our mind, and we always got a timeline, we have some sense of how this is going to happen. And dieting has really kind of filled our head up with unrealistic expectations where we kind of think of our weight loss as going to be like this straight line down. It rarely is. Okay. And so you can lose 30 pounds and then kind of hit plateaus, right? As you get that last 10 pounds, and the last 5 pounds, 10 pounds, that's really the pounds of mastery. And you have to think of it like anything else. You know, if I've never drawn before, and I go and take a drawing class, I'm going to have some real quick early wins, right? Because I'm starting from zero, and just any good information, any practice is going to help me grow quickly. But the longer I stick with it, the more I learn, the smaller my improvements become. And it's the same thing with weight. And this is why it is so important not to think about your weight loss in terms of how much weight you want to lose, but in terms of what weight you want to live at. So Hot Chocolate Girl, what I would start doing is stop in my head thinking, oh, I've lost 30 pounds, but I want to lose 10 more. I want to lose 30 pounds, but I want to lose 10 more. I want to lose 10 more. I want to lose 40 pounds. Stop that shit. Okay. And I'd start saying, I want to live at X amount of pounds. So whatever weight you're at 10 pounds lighter, I would start saying, I want to live at that amount of weight. That's the weight I want to live at. I want to be that person. That's how I want to live. That's the weight I want to be at. That's my goal. And, again, the reasoning for that being that goal focuses you on what you want, whereas the weight loss focuses you on what you don't want, right? Because when we focus, I just want to lose 10 more pounds, I'll lose 30 more pounds. We're thinking in our mind about what we're not going to have anymore. And psychologically, it's weird. I know this is all strange if you're kind of new here. The idea of just thinking about weight loss in general subconsciously is a weird concept. For a number of reasons. So that's what I would suggest to you is that you start to reframe your goal at this point. Celebrate it. I can't tell you the number of people I've worked with that are in a position just like yours, and the amount of weight lost really is irrelevant. The percentages are what important. I can't tell you the number of people I've worked with that have gotten 75% of their way to their goal. Now, sometimes that's 75 pounds, sometimes that's 30 pounds. But regardless, being 75% of the way to your goal, 75% of the way, but when you started, when you started your weight loss goal, when you thought you'd be 30 pounds lighter, you thought you'd be feeling a lot better about yourself, a lot prouder, a lot happier. And what happens for a lot of dieters is that they lose the weight, they're successful, but they have to kind of stay focused on the negative. They have to stay focused on, well, I still haven't got there. I'm still not there. I'm still not there. They need to maintain that mindset because they don't know how to keep going without it. And that's a problem because at some point you have to stop losing weight. So remember, your goal is not to lose weight. Your goal is to live at your goal weight. And so this weight loss part is just a phase. The real goal is to live there for the rest of your life on your autopilot. So that's why you want to start focusing on that goal, articulating as I want to live at X amount of pounds. I'm 10 pounds away from my goal. I'm 10 pounds away living there. It's going to be great. Blah, blah, blah. Keep focused on what you want to get out of it. Okay. And take some time to smell the roses and appreciate what you've accomplished so far as well. And just keep going. Because again, the struggle, usually it's not a struggle to lose the last 10 pounds. Usually what's really going on is that you're kind of freaking out that once I get to my goal weight, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That's a whole nother story, but very common. I feel like I'm all over the place today, but hopefully I helped you out. What's up, Christy? Christy says, I've noticed that when I allow myself to eat my forbidden foods in a relaxed way, I don't actually even really love them. Yeah, exactly, Christy. That's very common. Christy's in the program practicing eating in a different way. But that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to create insights, distinctions, awarenesses. And that's one of the most common awarenesses, is that when you calm down, see, a lot of times when people are eating their forbidden foods, they're in a mindset where they're not even present, because if they were present, they'd be crushed by the weight of their guilt, because people have like so much negative emotion around like their favorite foods. This is why in Program Yourself Then we have the pleasure days, the pleasure meals, because we're looking to change the way you think about these foods. And we started the program, right, just by having them, so they're not forbidden anymore. In Program Yourself Then there are no forbidden foods. Okay. But great job, Christy. Yeah, because that's a common thing. Again, you don't have to force yourself to do stuff. If you'll just kind of experiment and pay attention, that'll do a lot of the work for you. And so that's a great example, Christy, of that. Because the more relaxed and calm you eat those foods, the more you're just going to reinforce that exact same thing, that they're not as good as you thought they were. That is almost always something people report back. Nim says, is it okay? 68 kilograms if I'm happy, 5'3" female. Yeah, absolutely. Your weight, listen, folks, your weight is one of the true freedoms you have in life, right? You and you alone get to choose what weight you're going to live at. And the BMI chart is really just a vague kind of reference point. It's really not even that accurate. I mean, there's better measurements of how to choose a better weight. But long story short, using the BMI, if you are in the normal to overweight range of the BMI chart, health-wise, statistically, you're fine. Okay. Now it just becomes a question of where you want to live. What weight do you want to live at? Right. But that's just a personal preference, right? Everyone's different. So yeah, whatever weight you want to, and I don't know if 68 kilograms and 5'3", if I had to guess. Yeah, it's probably right in the ballpark of what would be considered normal. Maybe a little over, maybe whatever, but probably right in the ballpark. And so once you're in that kind of health range where you're going to be statistically fine, then it's just what weight do you want to live at, And you can't just say the lowest weight possible, because again, we have to take into account your goal weight. We can't just pick a number. You've got to take into account how it's going to be to live at that weight. This is so important. I think a lot of dieters are walking around with some really low number in their head that they're never going to live at, because they don't want to live the way they would need to weigh that way. And I think that's very common. And I think it creates an initial real big issue initially. So it's a great question though. But yeah. And by the way, go get my email. If you go click on the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself Then, I have a free hypnosis session I give you. But join my email list. You may not get it right away, but I give away all the time. I'm going to put it into a whole section I'm going to have for you for free. But it's a goal weight quiz, how to choose the right goal weight. Because most people have no idea how to choose the right goal weight. You've never learned how to choose the right goal weight. No, you have not. You've been taught how to pick it off a chart, but that's not really the same thing. It's a nuanced approach to choosing your goal weight, because yeah, there's the health aspects of it. Where are you going to be the healthiest? Okay, great. But then there's just the personal side of it. Where do you want to live and for what reasons? Everyone's got different motivations. You can't just, I think most dieters think, well, just lowest weight possible. What do you want to weigh? Smallest weight. You can't be too thin. What are we doing? Yes, you can. You got to choose the right weight, I think. And most people don't know how to do that. So. Yeah, Hot Chocolate Girl says, thank you for answering my question. That was very useful. Good. I'm glad. I'm trying. It's hard sometimes. I will tell you that one of the hardest things of this interaction for me is that people you all ask great questions every single day. But a lot of times when dieters ask me questions, they ask really kind of big questions, right? So for example, I've lost 30 pounds. I got 10 more to go and I'm really struggling the last 10. A very common question. Okay. And again, the specifics change, but the idea is the same. And so it's like to answer that, it's hard because I can't just give you information, because the core problem is the paradigm you live in, right? The kind of the mindset you live in, the way you see the world. And most people that want to lose weight, most of us, we've been trained to think like dieters our entire lives, right? Our entire lives, we've just been bombarded with diet marketing. And it causes us to think like dieters now. And we can't even help it. We don't even realize we're doing it. This is literally why I'm here every day. So it's like, I'd love to just give you just do this. But most of the time, to answer the question the way I think needs to be answered, I've got to kind of give you context first from a different point of view, right? Because I think so much of Program Yourself Thin it's a shift in perspective. I always say Program Yourself Thin, you can really kind of boil it down to two pieces. There's mindset and strategy. And I think when it comes to dieting, you typically don't even get strategy, you just get tactics, but you never get mindset. And so a lot of times when I want to answer a question that even just seems easy on the surface, I just can't, because I got to go back and kind of just describe the context, the mindset piece of it a bit, and that's why I say, even with the dieting, you're just obsessed with losing weight, right? You again, think about it this way. Dieting is just about getting to your goal weight. It's just about losing weight, getting to your goal weight. Now you say, oh no shit, Jim, that's what I want. But that's not what you want. You don't want to lose weight. You got to understand this distinction. It's so important. Your real goal is not to lose weight. It's part of the goal. It's part of your real goal, but it's not the goal. It's to live at your goal weight. You see that distinction? It's so crucial. It sounds so little. It sounds like, oh, you just switching words, Jim. It's the same thing. It is not. It is not. To your subconscious mind, they are two worlds apart, because losing weight is about the process of cutting calories and losing weight and getting to your goal weight. And so the finish line subconsciously is getting to your goal weight. But that sets you up for the big problem that every dieter deals with. How do I keep it off? Why am I so bad with keeping it off? Because you've never, ever, ever learned how to keep the weight off. You've never focused on maintenance. You never have focused on maintenance. And even if you did focus on maintenance, it was you just winging it. No one's taught you how to maintain out there. No diet teaches you how to maintain. They teach you how to do crazy shit to lose weight quick so you can get to your goal weight. That's the whole concept of dieting. But the real goal for you is that you don't want to just lose weight and put it back on. You've all done that. You're not happy. You're not living in the glory days. Oh, I lost 40 pounds 30 years ago. Who gives a shit? You're upset that you're overweight now. You see? So we've got to switch the goal, and it changes everything. But the real goal is that I want to live at my goal weight. I want to live there. And in Program Yourself Thin, we take it a step further. I help people live at their goal weight on near autopilot, because I don't think it's enough. You're not going to be able to diet your whole life away. Your brain's not even built to diet. Dieting is so unnatural and weird that your brain literally rejects it long term. Let's keep it simple. And so, with Program Yourself Thin, we're looking to really answer the question, how can I get to my goal weight and live there for the rest of my life in the easiest, most comfortable, natural way possible? And that's what we do through the program. That's why we have in the program, we go through the goal weight pyramid. Look at all this stuff. Mindset, lifestyle, eating. We break it down so that you have a blueprint you can follow, so you know what to do. Most people have done, I always joke about this, that most people with their weight loss have done about this much of the pyramid. That little tiny top part, right? That's don't eat carbs. That's eat 1,000 calories. That's don't eat for 16 hours a day. That's what that is, right? Just someone just telling you something to do and you try and do it. Meanwhile, all this shit's under the surface controlling your results, your mindset, your lifestyle, and a lot of your eating, your subconscious eating programming. So, again, I think you need a more comprehensive, holistic approach to master your weight. And once you kind of accept that and recognize that, you put the work in and you end up in a completely different spot, because really living at my goal weight feels more like it's like a hobby. It's like something I'm consistently working on and improving and optimizing. But at the same time, it's also very automated. I've created a lot of automaticity in my behavior, my mindset, my lifestyle, my eating that pins me to my goal weight, But then on top of that, I definitely am paying attention to it. It would be no different. Like gardening, I think, is a great metaphor. It's kind of like gardening, right? You start a garden and at first, you don't know anything about gardening, and you're just doing the work and you're getting this dirt that's not ready for plants into right shape, but as you work at it, it gets easier and easier for you, right? Because you've done the harder work and now you're moving in, you're learning stuff, you're optimizing, you're moving forward, but you still have to be engaged, but it gets easier and easier because you learn stuff and you build on your previous work. And I think that's what I think of Program Yourself Thin like. And that's what I think of living at your goal weight is like. Whereas dieting is just this ridiculous approach to something that's going to be for the rest of your life. And I say the rest of your life, and this is proof of how your mind is kind of wired wrong for weight, is if I say that managing your weight is a never ending marathon that you will do for the rest of your life, you have an initial negative gut reaction to that. You're like, oh, the rest of my life, I'm gonna have to do this forever. But then if I flip the question around and ask you, how long do you want to live at your goal weight for? Well, your brain says forever. I always want to live my goal weight. You see what I mean? But dieting has literally programmed you for failure. Dieting is not your friend. Dieting is not there to help you live at your goal weight. Dieting is a branch of the food industry, and it's just another way that they program you for failure and keep you addicted to their food. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company that owns Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast is owned by the same company that owns Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. These companies do not want you to stop eating their products, and they don't give a shit if you lose weight. Just so you know. So again, I say this to you because it's really not your fault. Like, it's really not, because you think it's your fault because you haven't done the work. You're not doing it. You don't even know what to do. So anyways, Nancy says, I've changed my way of eating and have lost over a stone. Great job, Nancy. Yeah, that's the secret. I mean, of course you need to change your way of eating, obviously, right? But how do you change your way of eating? And that's the secret with Program Yourself Thin, is we're looking to change our way of eating. We're not going to do something drastic that's unsustainable. What's the point? Everything we're looking to do in Program Yourself Thin is something that's sustainable. Lori says, I don't call it dieting anymore. I call it learning to have a healthy relationship with food. I also don't look at it as losing weight, because when you lose something, you always find it again. I look at it as getting rid of it, as it has no use for me anymore. I love that, Lori. I think that's wonderful. And I love the reframes. I agree. You've got to reframe this. I have lost, over 30 years ago, I lost more than 50 pounds. And have kept it off for over 30 years. I have not dieted once, and I have not worked out consistently at all. And yet I do it I have a very specific plan I follow. But again, most of it is really based around my mindset, my lifestyle, and eating strategy, I would say, is a better way to describe it. So yeah, you've got to transform on the inside if you want to transform on the outside long-term. So great job, Lori. I appreciate you sharing that. Yep. Kim says, maintenance requires focus and practice. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It requires focus and practice. Yeah, definitely. Maintenance is a whole thing. That's why, though, in Program Yourself Thin, we start right in the beginning with maintenance. See it right there. We're not going to wait till you get to your goal weight to start focusing on maintenance. First of all, you might never mind, when I get to my goal weight, I'll focus on maintenance. What about getting from day 1 to day 2, week 1 to week 2? That's maintenance too, you know? And if you don't have any maintenance strategies, your chance of ever getting to your goal weight are so slim. So again, in the maintenance section, we talk about how to deal with times of stress, how to get back on track when you make a mistake, how to deal with difficult situations that you're going to experience in life. Do you have those strategies? Because if you don't, you're really putting so much weight on your willpower. You really think your willpower is the secret to success, that you're just going to force yourself to do the right stuff. You're just going to wake up one Monday and just do everything perfect from that point forward. And it's silly. It's silly. Yeah. Cam likes the hobby idea. Yes. I think it was a hobby. Absolutely. And I love it. I love it. I say this all the time. I am as fired up and motivated and excited about my eating and my lifestyle, my mindset and my weight as I was over 30 years ago. You know why? Because in Program Yourself Thin, we take our weight and we wrap it in personal development. So for me, this isn't just about weight. It's about being the best version of myself I can be. And one piece of that is weighing what I want to weigh and eating the way I need to eat to do that. But I've got a bigger goal than just weight. And I think this is another crucial thing you got to do. I know you all think that the weight, I'm motivated. I want to lose weight more than anything. Well, if you haven't lost weight this year, right here we are in November, if you haven't lost weight this year and it's the most important thing to you, it's because you're not really motivated. Just so you know. And you're not motivated because weight is not enough motivation for almost anyone. No, it is for me. No, it's not. No, it's not. If like weight is the most important thing to you, really important to you, and you're not actively losing weight or haven't lost any weight in the last month or two, I don't believe you. And there's nothing wrong with that. We got to be honest with ourselves, Christy says, I've also noticed that I'm shifting to a new identity, the opposite of white knuckling and dieting. Wonderful job, Christy. Yes. I love that. And you'll notice that, Christy, too. You'll definitely notice that over the holidays, because That's such a great time for Program Yourself Thin people, because they often notice during the holidays how much they begin to change. Again, when things change, it's easier to notice what's going on with us. Yeah, holidays are like that. Nancy says, made it to goal, but I'm scared to come off of the GLP. Yeah, I get it. That is the downside. Listen, GLPs, they're amazing. They are amazing. No question about it, but they are not a perfect thing. They're just not. I say this every day. I will every day of the week, I will take my Program Yourself Thin success stories and put them against GLP-1, and the Program Yourself Thin smokes any GLP-1 success stories. Why? Because you don't have to inject yourself with anything. You don't have to pay this shit forever. You have learned how to run your mind. You know how to set up your lifestyle, your eating, so that you not only get to your goal, but you live there forever. You take this approach on so that you're not only losing weight and controlling your health, you're also becoming the best version of yourself possible, because you now know how to run your mind. You know how to set yourself up for success. And this is a downside of the GLP-1s is, yes, there is no evidence that you will be able to keep that weight off, Nancy. I'm not here to be a jerk. We all know this. Okay. So please, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm supportive of anything anyone wants to do. I have people in the program on GLP-1s that are in the program learning how to do all this stuff while they're using the GLP-1. So they have a ramp off plan. Because the GLP-1, there's no evidence that lasts at all. People come off the medicine, they instantly start putting weight on. Why wouldn't they? They haven't changed anything in their mindset. They haven't changed any eating philosophy. They haven't changed their lifestyle philosophy. They haven't changed anything. They've injected themselves with something that makes them feel full all the time, so they don't eat. And the second they come off it, they're hungry again, and they have no tools or strategies to deal with it. So, that's the downside. Everything's got, I'll give you the downside of Program Yourself Thin, though. Okay. I'm not going to sit here blow smoke up your ass. Program Yourself Thin's got a downside too. It takes effort and work. Look at, this is part of the program. This is the goal weight blueprint. This is 144 pages. Again, my program's not for everyone. It's for overthinkers and overachievers, and you all know who you are. But you go through here and you answer this, and you have a roadmap custom designed for you to get to your goal weight and live there. But going through this takes time, effort, energy. I understand that. So, there's always a cost to be paid. There's always a cost, right? Nothing's for free. And with the GLP-1s, unfortunately, that's the big one, is that, you should be nervous unless if you've developed some strategies or you have some plan you're planning on following. But if you're on GLP-1, you get to your goal and you're thinking of coming off of it, all evidence points to you put the weight right back on. So it is a lifetime commitment. So I wish you the best, Nancy, but I get it. Missy says, I'm on the 816 fast and portion control, been doing for 3 years. Great job, Missy. And, that just says to me, by the way, because there's always going to be outliers. And that would make Missy an outlier, because the average person who tries intermittent fasting doesn't stick with it for 3 years. Right. So, I think that speaks to the point that there's no right or wrong with weight. There's really just figuring out what works for you. And so for Missy, doing an 816 fast and portion control works for her, great. 3 years in, God bless you. You've proven it. So to me, I always look at the time factor of it, right? Because I will share this to you to kind of protect yourselves, vaccinate yourself from weight loss marketing bullshit, because it all revolves around the idea of, I lost 50 pounds in a month, some version of that. And the second you hear some crazy results, you go into this trail. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you did. And it's like, it's not enough to know what you did. You know what I mean? Like, so what? Oh, I ate for 3 hours a day. Oh, I'm going to do that. That's what dieters are always like. Oh, I'm going to do that. No, you're not going to do that for long. You get so desperate, you'll think you'll do anything, but you won't. And that's the problem. But great job for you, Missy. Because if you're doing for 3 years, that's proof that it's resonating with you. But for a lot of other people, that's not going to work at all. So I'm not here to say intermittent fasting 816 is good or bad. I'm here to say that it's good and bad. And if it works for you, great. Add that to your pile of solutions. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine too. You don't have to do that. But you know what I mean? Like, I want to say both sides to that, because they're both true. I don't think you hear that message a lot. Cam says it can be tricky because at first it's just a little bit of cheese, mayo, sugar. Then it can easily turn into using a little more, then a little more. And then those 5 pounds are back. That's the truth. That's big truth right there. That's a big truth, But again, I mean, and program yourself thin. That's why I say with the eating, I'll just show you a little bit of this goal weight pyramid, right? We'll talk about eating for a second because there's 3 phases we go through. The first one's awareness, second one's structure, third one's optimization. But that awareness one's really big, and that's one of the core reasons you're struggling with your weight is you're not aware. Your subconscious mind's in control. It's not aware of what you're doing. And your subconscious mind's aware of what you're doing. Your conscious mind's unaware of a lot of what you're doing and thinking. And so you're right on the money, Cam, that you really do have to practice. You have to cultivate the ability to be aware. That without question, I always ask my clients, like, what's helped you succeed the most? And without question, the main answer I get back is awareness. And I always love that because when people start, they never think that's very important. But awareness is literally fundamental, and you're less aware than you think. And so as you develop awareness in this process, it changes the entire process. That's great, Cam. I appreciate you saying that. What's up, Michelle? Michelle says, so happy I found your program. Not afraid of the holidays this year. Yes, I hear that a lot. Yes, that's what I love. Again, this really does. This is one time when you really do see a big difference between dieting and program yourself thin, is that dieters are white knuckle dreading this week in the next 6 weeks. And program yourself thin, we learn how to deal with it. Now, I will listen, folks, if you're not in my world, please click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself Thin and get the free hypnosis session, because today I'm going to send out a link to Thanksgiving training I did for free. I'm just going to send it to you. And it's got a hypnosis session I made for it as well, how to thrive during Thanksgiving. 5-minute video, just some quick strategies you can use to thrive through Thanksgiving. That's simple. And if you go through it, you'll be able to see firsthand how you can approach Thanksgiving, the eating holiday of holidays. It's literally a holiday to overeat, but you can go through Thanksgiving and thrive and enjoy it more than you ever have while you eat less than you have in the past. You'll eat more than you do today. Okay. So your goal for Thanksgiving is not to just starve yourself or stick to your diet perfect, is to be moderate. But anyways, that'll help you do it. So if you get on my list, I'll be sending out this afternoon. And it's a great way just to experience this approach, because I'll give it to you. It's a 5-minute training, just take a few couple things. And then there's a hypnosis session that helps you go through and rehearse Thanksgiving so it goes exactly the way you want it to. And it's free. So go check that out. Cam says, I have to remember that full feeling I may think is want actually feels like disgust and regret. So I play the tape through that I think how I feel after I eat this. Yes, Cam. Yes, Cam. Cam, you in the program? You must be. That's shit we talk about in the program. But sometimes I get confused because people that are in the program and people that have lost a lot of weight and kept it off for a long time talk the same, because this program comes from people that lost a lot of weight, kept it off for a long time. That's the people I started studying with over 30 years ago. That's how I was able to drop to 50 pounds and keep it off for 30 years, is I studied people that lost weight and kept it off. That was the big difference. You all are studying, you may not realize it. You're all studying people that lose weight quickly and put it back on. Program Yourself Thin is around people that lost weight, kept it off long-term. And that's all the difference in the world. But yes, that is a fundamental difference. And Cam just said it, is remembering that full feeling. And Program Yourself Thin, we call it consequence. There's anticipation, consumption, consequence, the 3 phases of eating. And in this culture, we've been trained to ignore consequence. As you start to pay attention to it, again, the awareness I was just talking about, as you start to become more aware of the consequences that start 6 seconds after the last bite. I'm not talking about the consequences. Oh, I'm eating too much, I'm going to be overweight. I'm not talking about that. That's too far in the future. It doesn't mean anything to your subconscious. I'm talking about 6 seconds after you take the last bite. What's the consequence of that eating decision? Oh, shit. Once you start paying attention to that, very powerful. Because the consequence is the same for all of us every single time. You've never eaten a ton of fast food, junk food, bullshit food. You've never eaten a bunch of it and felt great afterwards. Not once. Not once. Maybe it was fun eating it. I'll give you that. But never, when you were done eating it, were you feeling lighter, happier, healthier, successful, proud, momentum. You never felt all these good things after eating a bunch of bullshit food. So you've got the truth on your side. The problem is you've never learned how to focus on it consistently. And that's a big part of Program Yourself Thin. And it's what Cam said as well. So that is wonderful. Yeah, Cam follows it up, but awareness is everything. So yes, Cam, she's either in the program or she is successful at this because she's saying all the right stuff. What's up, Deanna? Awareness and relaxation. Yes. And they go hand in hand, because the more relaxed and calm you are, the more aware you are. When you're stressed, it's not just that you're physiologically stressed. It's how are you generating the stress? When you have some stress in your life, maybe you're stressed. Maybe you got to travel to go home and you don't even want to have dinner with the people you got to go home with. What's creating the stress is you imagining the situation in your mind. So again, as we calm down and relax, we ground ourselves, center ourselves, we're able to be more aware. We're able to see things we otherwise wouldn't be able to see. And that changes everything. So yes, agreed. Awareness and relaxation. Cam says, you're saving lives. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And that really is my ultimate goal. I say it all the time that my motivation is deep, because for me, weight really is life and death. My father died at 54 of a heart attack. So for me, it's so much more than just wearing skinny jeans or wearing the bathing suit to the beach. I want you to do that too. But more importantly, I want you to live as long as you can. And I want you to have the best quality of life while you're here. So my motivation runs deeper, I think, than the average weight loss person. Let's see, tic-tac. Missy said, yeah, no diets. Great job. Nancy says, made it to goal. Yep. Wow. Missy lost 64 pounds and feeling great. That's super. Super job. Shabana says, I need to lose 30 kilograms. What shall I do? I mean, what you want to do. Weight loss is simple conceptually, right? I mean, really just weight loss comes down to reducing your calorie consumption, and so some people call that a deficit. I don't like to use that language. I like to think in terms that you're going to reduce your average calorie consumption. So, I mean, that's the answer. Whether you want to lose 30 kilograms or, 100 pounds or 5 pounds, it doesn't matter how much weight you want to lose. The answer is always the same, that you need to reduce your average calorie consumption. And if you want to keep the weight off, you got to reduce that average calorie consumption in a comfortable, sustainable way. So it's not about doing some crazy thing so you start losing weight. It's about reducing the calories in a way that's relatively comfortable and easy for you so that you can maintain it. And then once that starts to normal, then you can dial a little more down, cut a little more down, make it comfortable, get used to that. Then if you want to lose more, dial it down a little more, and so on and so forth until you reach your goal weight. Let's not overcomplicate it though, but it's less about, what crazy strategy I could tell you, which I know is what we've been conditioned to look for. And it's more about just common sense done strategically over time, in a way that's comfortable. The sustainability is the most important piece. And the diet industry has really trained you to think in the short term, and sustainability doesn't even matter, because all that matters is rapid weight loss. But that is the absolute wrong way to go about it. It's the absolute wrong way to go approach it. I promise you. Sheila says, I just got off the scale and I'm down 2 pounds, and it's not the number. It's the fact that what I'm doing is working. Something to celebrate. Congratulations, Sheila. I totally get that, right? I'm so happy for you, because it really, you're right. It's not about the number. It's about things working and believing that it's going to work. I just can't tell you how important that is. And that really just puts kind of a pin on what I was just saying, that again, dieting has just filled all of our heads. Think about this, folks. We all at this point have lived in the diet bubble. Like all of us, every single person alive right now has steeped themselves their entire lives in this dieting bullshit, this mass mega marketing of dieting. We have seen tens of millions of diet ads in our lives, and it's affected the way we think about weight loss. But one of the primary ways it's affected us is that we just think about the way to lose weight is to lose a lot quickly. And if it's not a lot quickly, we're failing. And it's completely the wrong message, which is why no one loses weight on a diet, And so what Sheila's saying here, I think, is so true, that really we need to recognize, we need to make the speed of the weight loss, we need to push that back and make it less important. I know you want to lose weight quickly. I understand that, but we've got to come to a realization that if fast weight loss is your number one goal, it's almost guaranteed you're going to put all that weight back on, because you're going to do rapid, drastic, unsustainable things, and you won't be able to keep them up, and you will put the weight back on. So that's just a fucking fact. I don't even know why. Sometimes I have to argue this with people. I'm not being negative. I mean, look around, look at your own experience. It's the same for everyone. I know everyone's lost some weight and then they put it back on, and no one can understand why. That's the part that makes me nuts. I'm reading this whole book. The goddamn guy was the head of the FDA. He's a doctor. Kessler. Diet, what's it called? Diets, Drugs, and Dopamine. And he's just got this whole book. This book's this big. This guy is a scientist. I mean, he's like, this boy, never once does he, oh my God, why does the weight keep coming back? Why does the weight keep coming back? Hormones. Yeah, hormones matter, of course. But you don't think it matters that the only way people know how to lose weight is dieting, which is extreme shit that they can't maintain it. It's not even mentioned in the book. People can't stick with it. We don't know why. Is it possible because people freak themselves out by changing everything all at once and they can't stick with it because it doesn't fit their lives? It doesn't fit their realities to live this way forever. You've all lost weight on keto at this point, probably. You want to stay keto forever? It's one thing when you're, because this is the other part. This is what it all boils down to me, is that in dieting, most dieters trade the excitement and the pleasure of the food for the excitement and the pleasure of the scale going down. It's fine. But what happens when you get to your goal weight? Because now you don't have the excitement and pleasure of the food, and you don't have the excitement and pleasure of the scale going down. So what's motivating you now? What are you looking forward to now? What's driving you now? And I know everyone always says, well, I'll figure it out when I get there, Jim. I'll be thin, so I'll be so happy. I'll just do that. No, you won't. It's a thing called hedonic adaptation. Look it up. It's a real thing. There's a reason why it's estimated that 95% of dieters that lose weight put it back on. There's a reason why. And you're not just going to override that statistic with your willpower. You've got to realize that you're on the wrong path. I get all worked up. I got to calm down. Calm down. But great job, Sheila. I'm proud of you, because once you start to feel like something's working and you start getting some positive feedback, that's a very important moment. So honor that, Sheila, and build on it. Great job. Shannon says, your program should be taught in high school. It would prevent so many people from years of tears, confusion, and frustration. I could not agree more, Shannon. I could not agree more. And, hey, I'm on that path. This next year coming up is just going to be so transformative. It's going to be exciting, but it starts with the book. The book is in the can. So January 1st to January 5th, I will be giving this book away for free. It is called The Tao of Living at Your Goal Weight. A beautiful book, I got to say. So I want you all to get it for free. Read this book. I think you're going to love it. If you like it, share it with people, and that is my mission, is to help as many people as possible to live at their goal weight. So I appreciate you saying that, Shannon. And yeah, we're moving in that direction. And a big part of it is going to be this book. I cannot wait for this book to get out. So yes. But all right, I got to get out of here. So if you're not in my world, make sure you get into my world by clicking the link in my bio, or go to Program Yourself Thin. If you're on Facebook, you can scroll up and I put the link right there. Click on it. It takes you 3 seconds. You sign up. You get the free hypnosis session. I made a free training for you. You'll get on my email list. I'm going to send out today the Thriving During Thanksgiving training and hypnosis session that I'm giving you for free. Again, I say this every day. No one gives you more free stuff than I do. And if someone does, please let me know, and I will just give you more free stuff. No one's going to give you more free stuff than me. This is a mission for me, and this is a great opportunity to kind of just test this out for Thanksgiving. And you'll see firsthand how it works for free. So get on my email list, and I will send that link out. And I'll be reminding you when the book comes out to make sure that you don't miss it. When I give it, I'm giving it away for free. Kindle version, free. What more can I do? I can't read it for you. So it's like I'm doing everything I can here to get this book. It's going to knock your socks off. I'm so excited about this because this all just came together. I didn't even plan this, but for you to start your next year off with this book in your grubby little paws, it's going to be a big deal. This is a good book. You've never read anything like it. And what do you got to lose? Say, oh, Jim, you're crazy. This book sucks. Throw it out. You didn't pay anything for it. But if you like it, it's free. You're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. It's so good. So anyways, get on my list and do that. And then if you like this, I'm here every Monday through Friday. Again, here to answer your questions. Any questions or you got any comments, you can share them. I'm happy to coach you and help you out during this time. I'm here usually around noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. And if you can't make the live and you like listening to it, it's also a podcast. You can search Program Yourself Thin on any podcast platform. It'll pop up, and then you can listen to it anytime you like. All right. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.